So when I first saw the camera, I was majorly excited for it. And not just for myself, because I already have the A7R III, but I'm really comfortable and I really enjoy that camera. But more so for other people, because I know for a long time people have been wanting to try Sony, and I think the A7 III is going to be the perfect camera for people to not only try Sony for the first time, or for people who might have like the A6000 or 6300 and want to upgrade. So that's like the perfect camera for not just people. It's a good camera for everybody. So I'm really happy for other people, as well as myself. I am going to get it.
Hi, I'm Tony Gale, pro photographer and Sony Artisan, and I got to get my hands on the new A7 III today, shooting on stage for Sony. It's an amazing camera, 10 frames a second, tons and tons of autofocus points, super fast, 4K video. It's a huge upgrade from the A7 II, which was already a good camera. I think for a lot of people, this camera is a great intro to full-frame mirrorless. I still love the A7R III, and then there's the A9, of course, but the A7 II, incredible camera. They did a great, great job with it.
My name is Jeff Berlin. I'm a Sony artisan. Last night, Sony came out with the new A7 Mark III. Very exciting event. This camera is really interesting to me. I mean, I have an an A7 Mark III. I have an A7R III. I have the A9. This camera will absolutely be in my bag all the time. The specs are really impressive to me. Also because I shoot a lot of video. And what's really interesting to me about the video is that it's full frame, direct pixel readout, super sampling from 6K to 4K, and it has HDR and picture profiles and 4K, which is all really good stuff that I need. Then it has 10 frames per second for stills. As a still photographer, I'm really psyched about it. As a guy who shoots video, I'm really psyched about it. I think this could be a good everyday solid camera for me.
Hey everyone, I'm Paul Giroux. I'm a Sony artisan from Orange County, California, and I just saw the A7 III. It was released last night. I put my hands on it this morning for the first time at WPBI, and I gotta tell you, this camera is the best value that Sony has probably ever created. And I know that might sound like hype, but when you look at the features, you gotta believe me when I say it, because it's 24 megapixels. It is 10 frames a second. That's mechanical shutter, both in RAW and RAW plus JPEG, as well as an electronic shutter that goes 10 frames a second. So what that means for photographers who shoot flash, they can shoot with the right flash units for 10 frames a second, which is pretty insane. Now, it also does off the charts, awesome off the charts 4K video. It doesn't just do 4K video in APS-C, it does 6K oversampled to 4K with no pixel binning at full sensor readout. That's pretty freaking awesome. This camera packs a lot of wallop for $1998, and I think it's going to be the perfect camera for wedding photographers, because wedding photographers don't necessarily need 42 megapixels. They don't necessarily need 20 frames per second like an A9, but they do need dual car slots, the really good battery, the joystick controller, although with Sony's eye autofocus and face detection, I rarely use a joystick, but I'm glad it's there anyway for those Canon shooters who still like to think that they're in 2013 and they like to use a joystick. I'm just kidding. Don't hate me for that, guys. But I want to just say that I think this is the camera that's going to bring wedding photographers and even portrait photographers over to Sony because of all the features that it offers. So I am being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but what I really think is that a lot of photographers who were sitting on the fence are now going to jump over because of this camera. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure and try out the camera. I think you're going to see, like me and other Sony artisans and other Sony shooters around the world, think that this is the camera company that's going places, that's innovating and going to the future. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.
I'm Otto Schulze. I'm an artisan. Yeah, and I must say the A7 III really impressed me last night. I think as like a backup camera for our bag, which is what I thought at first. It's incredibly solid, but even as a main camera, so all the features that a pro camera needs, and the price tag is crazy, so yeah.
Hi, I'm Brian Smith. I'm Sony Artisan, and today Sony's launched the A7 Mark III, which is basically, I call it the baby A9. All the stuff most people want from the A9 at a great price point, under 2,000 bucks. So now there's no excuse. Get rid of those Ken icons and get a decent camera.
I'm Sarah France, and the A7 III is amazing. It's perfect for wedding photographers. It's got the perfect file size, and it's under $2,000. It's so affordable. I just can't believe it. I'm so excited.
Hi, I'm Scott Robert Lim, and I really think the A7 III is going to be a game changer. I mean, seriously, for $2,000 to get full frame, right? 24 megapixels, 10 frames per second, 4K video, and it's pretty much exactly like the A7R III, which I have, and the focusing system on that is amazing. And actually, if you're a wedding photographer, you're gonna really love the extended battery life on the new cameras, because now I can shoot all day on one battery, and it just makes things so much easier. And so with the new focusing features and the battery life and the 4K video, I mean, why wouldn't you get it for a couple $1,000s? So I just think it's a remarkable breakthrough, and congratulations to Sony. It's another winner.
My name is Erin, aka Erin Outdoors. I'm an outdoor and adventure photographer and blogger. First impressions of the A7 III is that this is an excellent entry-level full-frame mirrorless for people who are maybe getting into it, or for folks who need to upgrade. This is such an excellent choice.
My name is Nino Rakicevic. I'm a Sony artisan, and I've been a photographer for now 36 years. Yesterday I saw A7 III for the first time, and I'm literally blown away because I know it's a game changer. I know we have A7R III. I have two of those. I have A9. I have pretty much every camera that Sony ever made. But this is a big deal because I know people who were thinking about switching, that they don't have to wait anymore. The price is right, the quality is there. You can adapt lenses. It has S-Log, has amazing focusing capabilities. Basically, entire sensor has focusing cells on it. Has eye focusing. The ISO goes up to 20,000 something. What else do you need? I mean, I really don't know what else do you need. You just have to get a camera and take pictures. So I'm definitely getting one, even I have everything else. I'm very excited, and it's gonna be my everyday camera.
All right, hey, I'm Chad Wadsworth, Sony Artisan. Boy, the A7 II, man, the first Sony mirrorless camera that I had was the A7. And I've just shot so many concerts and, you know, kind of behind the scenes work, editorial work with that original A7. And it just has, I have a sweet spot for it in my heart. You know, it's that 24 megapixel sensor is just, it is really like that sweet spot for full frame cameras. The perceptual sharpness of the images is fantastic. You know, 42 megapixels is great, but it's a lot of pixels. It's a lot of extra pressure on your workflow. And for event photographers, guys like me that need to take a lot of shots, keep our keeper rate up high, you know, having 24 megapixels is nice. So looking forward to it, looking forward to this new sensor. I hear it's got fantastic low light capabilities, maybe even A7S level, so we'll see. I haven't shot with the camera yet, but I can't wait to see the files.
Hey, my name is Chris Orwig. I am a Sony artisan, and I am pretty excited to talk about the A7 III. Okay, so first impressions for me, it's kind of mind-blowing to have all of this in a little camera. And here's why I'm most excited about it. Because of the price point, I think it's going to be a really fun camera. In other words, you can bring this camera places that I might not bring my A9 or my A7R III or things like that. So I could get it out there in the desert or underwater, just have a little bit more fun. So that's the thing I think I'm most looking forward to as far as the specs and the way it works and the way it functions and the images. Amazing. So I'm pretty psyched.
Hi, my name is Jane. I am a photographer based in New York, and I'm also a part of Sony's Alpha Collective. I'm super excited about the announcement of the new A7 III camera. I think it's going to be an amazing addition to the lineup. People ask me all the time, especially if they're starting out for the first time and they want to get serious about their photography, you know, what camera should I get? And I think this is the answer that they've been looking for. I mean, it's so comparable to everything else in the A7 lineup with such an amazing price point. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a great camera. I can't wait to see what everyone does with it.
Hello, I'm Robert Evans, Sony Artisan of Imagery. My first impressions of the A7III, it's quite a camera for the package that it comes in. I got to use it. I've had it about 2 weeks before launch, and I shot some stills and a little video with it, and I really liked it. I mean, I love that it's just a slight variation of the A9, which I have and I love. And for the price point at $2,000, it's quite an amazing package. You know, Sony listened, put the dual card slots in it, the new batteries in it, so you know, you can get 710 shots off of one battery. If you have the vertical grip, you know, you can go all day. It's definitely going to be my second camera on the wedding day. At 24 megapixels, it's kind of the perfect size for me, file size. I still have a little room to crop. It works well with my A9. So those will be the two bodies that I'll be running on my wedding day and the things that I shoot. I also shot a little sports with it, you know, 10 frames a second on a mechanical shutter. I shot a little hockey. It worked amazing. So if you're like me, I like to say I major in weddings and minor in sports, but it works great for both.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Kwehu, also known as Around Q on Instagram. And my first impressions of the Sony A7 Mark III is just wow. I was pretty amazed. I knew that they were going to increase the frames per second, but what was a total shocker was getting that 15 stops of dynamic range. I think that's a game changer. And then they also put the same A9 autofocus system, which is also a super game changer. I mean, for $2,000, there is no camera better than the A7 Mark III. It's an incredible camera, dual SD slots, better battery, and most importantly, autofocus. This camera is a game changer, and there's nothing else that's going to be better at this price point.
Yo, what's up? Adam King, King of Kings on Instagram, part of the Sony Alpha Imaging Collective. My first impressions on the A7 III, packs a powerful punch. Sony is on top of their game with new releases for camera systems and lenses, and it just seems like it'll be great for all sorts of use, whether it's landscape, portraits, wedding, anything like that. And last but not least, the color. Amazing. I'm a fan. I'm sold.
Hey everybody, my name is Manny Ortiz. I am a portrait photographer based out of Chicago. You can find me on YouTube at Manny Ortiz. I'm part of the Sony Alpha Collective as well. And yesterday the Sony A7 III was announced, and honestly I feel like the A7 III sets the new standard for the mid-range camera. I think that out of all the brands, Fuji, Nikon, Canon, nothing can touch the A7 III right now at the price point of $2,000. You got 24 megapixels, you have the same autofocus system as the A9, dual card slots, you got that amazing battery life. Honestly, I think that this is the time for people to start switching. No more excuses about price. $2,000, you get practically all the features. So I'm super impressed with what Sony's doing here. I think they're literally changing the game right now. So yeah, that is my first impressions of the Sony A7 III. I'm really excited about it. And take care, guys.
Now? Hello, my name is Diana Ortiz, and I know nothing about the A7 III, but I frequently get asked what it's like to be married to Manny Ortiz, and the answer that I usually have for people is, you need to ask him what it's like to be married to me. And that's all I have to say about that.